Hello everyone and welcome back to another week of Tokyo Ghoul. And what a chapter it was. I mean, I don't I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm remaining optimistic that the events that have transpired will, I don't know. I just hope Juzo doesn't die. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, I can't even say because of what happened. I can't even say with like any kind of sense of positivity that he might live. And so like I don't know, but it's just it sucks, because it's like it's Juzo. I mean, man. All right. Anyways, let's just jump straight into the chapter because there is definitely a lot to talk about. This video is probably going to be pretty freaking long. So hopefully you guys stick around, and hope you enjoy. So yeah, let's get straight into it. First off, look at the cover. I mean, Weekly Young Jump has some crazy covers, some really nice covers, and I like how they display the logo. It kind of, not sure if they always do that. I mean, I don't recall it always being like that, but it kind of matches the colors of the whole Tokyo Ghoul art style or whatnot. So Kaneki's looking pretty fresh there, but I just wanted to point that out. But I did also want to point out the portrait that Ishida did, where we see Kaneki rocking this like sweater type of deal thing. He's looking pretty neat. But one thing that caught my attention was the way that the light is reflecting on his face. Now it reminded me instantly of this picture that he had this portrait he made a couple months back, and he posted it on Twitter. I don't remember if he posted it on Tumblr, but I know he posted it on Twitter. But it's kind of like the same thing. If you look at both of them again, I'll show you again. There's the light reflecting off of his face, and then you will see it here again with Kaneki getting the light reflected on his face. So definitely there's some symbolism there that he is trying to showcase. And again, I mean, the guy references things from a year before or years before. It's amazing how he's able to just put things together in a way that flow nicely and don't seem like forced, but at the same time make you recall certain events or certain things that have taken place, or things he's done. I think it's cool, and definitely this seems to be like, if you were looking at this in a timeline sense, probably are like in the same occurrence. I mean, this version of Kaneki here is definitely this, what I would consider to be the One-Eyed King Kaneki, which if you guys have seen the Jump cover, I mean one of the Jump pictures in the Jump magazine, I didn't put it here, I'm an idiot. But it's basically Kaneki having an eye patch. He's looking very savage. I mean, it's definitely, that picture definitely means he's going to be the One-Eyed King. I can't believe I didn't put the freaking, I'm going to see if I can try to put it. If I can't, then I'm sorry. But let's just, move on. I apologize. I mean, you guys will probably find it. Just Google Tokyo Ghoul. You most likely see it. I'm sorry. But anyways, let's just get into the chapter. I just wanted to point that out there with this portrait and whatnot. So first off, Kuro is angry at Juzo, and basically through the conversation that she had with Juzo, she basically said that she came to Rue Island for the sole purpose. I mean, she said to rescue her sister and whatnot, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But really, the main purpose of coming to Rue Island was because she knew that Juzo was going to be there, and because Juzo was going to be there, she was going to get her revenge. Eventually, sooner or later, she was going to get her revenge, and you can just see how much this event that happened with her and Juzo the first time around really affected her, and also the death of her sister has left her mentally broken. Now this picture right here is very grotesque. I hadn't even really looked at it that well, but now that I'm looking at it this time around, it's very nasty. Just to see her stomach is just this fusion thing of what remains of Shiro. And that's another thing we'll be talking about here real quick, where Kuro basically absorbed Shiro. Okay, so if you remember in the events of Tokyo Ghoul, Dr. Kano said he couldn't rescue Shiro to Kuro after the events with Juzo and everything. And he said, we have to leave and whatnot. And so this is one of the panels there during the aftermath. And it seems like instead of eating her, she somehow absorbed her. So that's another interesting thing, because it's another factor that comes into play, and it's a new thing that we don't know. Well, at least I had never thought of. The fact that ghouls can somehow, I'm not sure if this is just ghouls, maybe half ghouls, because if you see now, Shiro is a full-on ghoul. Like, she's not a half ghoul anymore. She's like a full-on ghoul. But I'm not sure if only half ghouls can do this, or if ghouls can do this, because basically it was something along the lines of her being able to absorb Shiro's like RC cells or whatnot, and like literally they fuse together, like not even in a metaphorical sense, and also in a literal sense. So the way that worked, not entirely sure how, like the specifics of it, but it seems more along the lines of like she literally absorbed her, kind of like and again I'm referencing it again. I'm pretty sure Ishida might have gotten inspiration from it. Full Metal Alchemist, the homunculi, where they can just like eat people and whatnot, and it just kind of like absorb them. It's weird. It's weird. I hadn't seen that coming. I thought she ate her. That's what I thought. And she somehow, because like she ate some a lot of RC cells, she ended up becoming a ghoul. But then when I think about it, Kaneki should have become a ghoul if he did the same thing, because he's eating so many ghouls. But it seems like the way that Shiro became a ghoul was literally somehow being able to absorb her sister. And when I thought about that too, you could also maybe correlate this event or connect it with Noro's character, where Noro was seemingly this like amalgamation of just Kagune. He was like a literal just Kagune, and maybe Noro was a fusion of Eto's remain. Like I don't know. Like the whole fusion thing has left me wondering where else have we seen it before? Like, because remember, there's things that are referenced there are things that are in the future that happen in present chapters that are referencing things that happened in the beginning, or something that we didn't really recall. And it's always been like that with Tokyo Ghoul. So I'm like, when you put the fusion stuff into play, I wonder if maybe like Noro was something like that too, or whatnot, or what other character. The only one I could think of that's like similar is Noro. So yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely pretty crazy seeing that they're not in just a metaphorical sense. She's with her. She's literally there with her, seeing as how they're fused together. But again, that's also not only very disgusting, but it's also very sad too, because Kuro is basically gone at this point. Like this is a character that has no sense of being able to come back. She is long gone. Like there's no coming back from her mentality. She's lost everything. Her parents, her dear sister. Kano left her. Kano abandoned her. And that would break someone. I mean, just all those events. And really her only goal now seemed to be getting her sister back, quote unquote, where she probably even knows herself that, like, Suzuya says, that's literally impossible, that she can get her, that, Kano can fix her up, per se, or bring her sister back to life. And, she keeps, she gets mad at Suzuya, and she keeps denying it, that she doesn't believe it or whatnot. She knows that it's true. He just doesn't want to take the time. Dr. Kano doesn't want to take the time, but I think that really the main purpose of all of this was just to get revenge on everything. Because, I mean, let's be honest here. Even though it wasn't Juzo's fault that they became half ghouls, it was Juzo's fault that Shiro died. Like, I mean, like, he killed her, So, circumstances happened, and the those events happened, and that's how it went down. And the other thing is that Kuro knows, Juzo from what she remembers Juzo, and she doesn't realize, and she doesn't know, but she will probably never know that Juzo has changed, from the one that we saw in the beginning, this very sadistic, violent character who had no sympathy for anybody, and really did his own thing, for his own thing, and came from this very troubled, traumatic past, to a character who's grown into being somewhat of a compassionate person, and realize his flaws and his mistakes, and was trying to do his best to redeem himself in some way, by being with his squad, and his squad getting to know him. And that's why I think that's why his squad was so faithful, and are so faithful, and are so helpful and caring towards Juzo, because I think that Juzo really, when he changed and everything with Shinohara, he became a lot more compassionate, and that's something we didn't see that development of, but it's there. Seeing as how his subordinates are so loyal to him, like Hanbi and all of them, definitely he has grown. But unfortunately, Kuro never saw that, and will probably never get to see that, because I don't think she's gonna live after this. I'm pretty sure she's gonna die in this event. It's just, I don't see really much of her character being much of a importance or use of, besides just, I guess, screen time, more extra screen time. Well, there's one thing, but I don't want to talk about that. But I don't see much of her character just playing any major roles, besides what she's doing right now, where she's in right now. So definitely she's probably gonna die, but seeing as how she's gonna go, it sucks, because she was somebody who had a past and was in the CCG and was doing good and whatnot, and to come to where she is now, I mean, it's just another showcasing of how tragic this whole scenario and this whole story is. But yeah, let's keep on moving. Here's that panel with Kuro saying that she'll be okay, and I love the dialogue here, because she slowly starts to just deteriorate in terms of like her speaking. Like, she says she's gonna be okay, sure, will be okay, and then you see the last little dialogue box by the one that's closest to her, it just says shioe, like she's just ready to get things done. She doesn't want to talk to him anymore. She wants to fight him, and she knows too. I feel like she has this feeling that she knows things are just wrapping up for her and this whole event. So she's like, might as well finish things up right now. She's just mentally incredibly gone at this point, which is very, very unfortunate. And then she says, "Love, don't give up." And then we see the Suzuya squad here. Nakarai tends to Hanbi, Mikage and Mizoru go to help out Juzo, and then we're gonna talk about these events. So Kuro attacks. Her Kagune is crazy. Like, she is incredibly strong. And when I was watching this fight, and then watching the fight with Kaneki and Arima, I came to realize that these characters have gotten crazy strong since Tokyo Ghoul. Because remember in Tokyo Ghoul, like, if you think about all the factors and all the abilities that we have learned in Tokyo Ghoul Re, they are way, 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 way stronger than Tokyo Ghoul. Because in Tokyo Ghoul, you had the regular Kagune. Whatever Kagune these people had, Ukaku, Bikaku, Rinkaku, all this stuff, no matter what it was, it basically just fell down to those four factors. And then you maybe saw like somebody who was like a bit stronger, like Arata, who had the full armor. Then you saw the hints of Kakuja, and you just see the progression, because you were always told, oh, there's this thing called the Kakuja, and then Kaneki ends up getting a Kakuja, and then you learn about Yoshimura, who is the owl, and his crazy Kakuja, and then Eto. But now we have things like RC cell walls and fusions, and just outlandishly like crazy healing factors, and still being able to use their abilities to even more of an extent, like really, really pushing their limits. Like in Kaneki's case right now, where he should technically be dead because he hasn't eaten or anything in a long time, and yet he's not only healed up, he's using like incredible Kagune abilities. It's just crazy, like in terms of power levels, how we've progressed. But you have seen that progression. I never expected this, to be honest with you. Like us seeing this like kind of like Akira style of just power up, where things are just getting. If you guys have seen Akira before, where things are just getting more and more. It's like shonen-esque, you know. I don't know. I think it was. I always thought we were gonna stick with like the 4 things and just see like a progression from there. Like Hakoja was gonna be like the last thing, but seeing as how we have these like crazy other abilities and whatnot, if you incorporate them into the stuff we already know, like it just like imagine a Ghoul with everything that we've seen so far. Like one Ghoul with everything like that broken, you know, like it's crazy. It's crazy, and not only is the story worth reading in Tokyo Ghoul, the fight scenes are also worth watching, and they're really, really, really cool. But yeah, so Nakarai and Hanbi are talking, and he apologizes and everything, and Nakarai says, "Don't worry, you know, we've won already," which ticked me off, because you know that he jinxed it, man. Like he jinxed it. He freaking jinxed it, because they're like, "We won already. Like it's all, you know, we've got it." And then Juzo says, "Oh, you know, we're gonna do this as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, so we don't lose that much stamina, because we have other things to take care of." And then we see, you know, the event that happens. But I did also want to show you guys the eye Kagune thing that's around Kuro. It reminds me a lot of Juha from Bleach. If you guys have seen Juha's, like if you guys are recently caught up with Bleach, I just wanted to point that out there, that it kind of reminded me of that. But she's kind of looking like a mini owl at this point, with how crazy her Kagune is and everything. But you know, they pin her. Juzo goes and goes in for the kill. Seems like everything's fine, and then we get the event that it was, what time was it? It was like 9 or 10 when this chapter came out. I don't remember, but I remember I was heading to work and I was reading it while I was driving. Okay, I shouldn't have done that, but I was reading it while I was driving, and I nearly crashed. I nearly crashed when reading this part, because I'm like, whoa. I put my phone down. When I saw that, I put my phone down and I just waited till I got to work, because I flipped. Because here's the thing. Like, okay, look, her Kagune pierced the armor. It did not only break the Quinque, which R.I.P. Jason twice, because that's literally Jason's Kagune again. It not only broke the Quinque, it also pierced the armor. Okay, and where it's piercing is his heart, not only his chest, but that's a very, very vital location, because that's his heart. You see, and you see the face. Like and here's an interesting thing too. His Quinque is a scythe. Now this is probably just coincidence, but his Quinque is a scythe. But if you look at the way that the slash is centered and the way it's styled, it looks like another scythe is piercing him. I thought that was interesting. I mean, it's probably coincidence, and I'm probably looking way into it, but I just wanted to point that out there, that it looks kind of like a scythe is piercing him, you know, where he was piercing people with scythes and with his scythe and whatnot. But yeah, this event, I'm hoping that whoever talked to Yuri and told him, you know, that somebody had died, I'm hoping that it wasn't Juzo, but I can't think of anybody else besides Kaneki. But Kaneki wouldn't make any sense. I mean, he kind of would, but not really. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm like, please, Ishida, don't let it be Juzo. It can be anybody else, but not Juzo. Like, come on. It can be anybody else, man. Like, I don't know. It just sucks, you know? Like, Ishida, you know. And here's an author that I really respect and I really admire, because these are definitely characters that he loves as well. I'm pretty sure that he does not like writing these characters and developing these characters, but to have the guts to kill these characters off, knowing the fan base and knowing the appreciation that people have for these characters, and the appreciation he probably has for these characters, and you know, the how much he cares for them and cherishes them, to be able to kill them off is just, That's brave. I would never, if I wrote a story, I wouldn't have the will to kill characters, especially if people came up to me and like, yeah, I love your work. I don't know. It's just, I would be so devastated if I killed a character. It's just, and it just shows you how stories can impact you in such a way where they're just characters, they're fictional and everything, and yet they can have so much impact on you, and just the way you, I don't know, it's cool. I'm probably getting way into this, but basically, I just don't want Juzo to die, and I'm hoping that it wasn't Juzo that died. But I mean, if you try to put things together, it seems like it was Juzo. So, and we don't have any hints of anybody else yet so far. So, I don't know. We'll see. But this is definitely a moment I will flip if it is actually Juzo. So let's move on. So right now we're panning over from this event, which makes it even worse because after this, big event, we go straight to Kaneki and Arima. Like, the tease is real with this man. It's crazy. But anyways, we see some dialogue, some people talking about heading over to Arima because, Arima's all alone. And at first I thought that whoever's heading there was somebody important because there's a squad leader there, but now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that it's probably nobody important, because basically this person is actually talking about Aura and Modan, whatever the other guy's name is, the guy with the gun Kagune thing, the gun Quinke, and they're both busy. So, they're going to handle the other ghouls, so they're probably going to be heading over to Ritoka, and all of them are, which, Ishida, please, come on. But anyways, so it seems like reinforcements are coming, but will they be there on time? That's something that we don't even know. But it seems like, I don't think it's going to be anybody important, but it seems like backup is coming, because they know that Arima is alone. Now, here's the thing. Most people know in the CCG that Arima has taken on triple S, crazy plus whatever S rated ghouls by himself, and been able to quarantine them / defeat them / kill them. So for these people to come, I wonder if it's just to be there just in case, because usually, I understand to be there just in case, but maybe these people are also V members as well. I don't think so, just because the way that they were talking, it seemed more like they were just CCG members. But if they are V members, I think that there might be something interesting that might happen, but I don't think so. I'm just speculating from there. But yeah, let's keep on going. We see Kagune here. He's fully brought back his limbs, and now he has these, Kagune, it reminds me a lot of like Akira. Like, if you've seen Akira, towards the end of Akira, when Tetsuo starts getting the, the very mutated arms and limbs and everything, it starts to remind me of that a lot. And it seems like, actually, let me rephrase that. It surprises me, and well, not really surprising me that much, but it really does surprise me that he is so calm during this event, because throughout this whole thing, he's not who he was like literally a couple minutes ago. He's completely changed. He's completely comes to terms with the situation and understands fully what he wants to do. And that's a scary thing. Seeing as how what he's been through, it's not in a positive. I don't think that this is in a positive way. I think that big things are going to happen after this whole event right now. But because he's fighting Arima, he's fighting God, he knows what's up. He's been fighting him for a couple minutes now, and to just somehow just snap and decide I'm gonna win, like that's crazy. That's really, really crazy. It's got the Shonen S type of feel to it, but it's scary too, knowing that Kaneki has just come back and decided, and with a very, very determined outlook on this event, where he was literally losing, like he could have died, so it's crazy, really, really crazy stuff. But he launches out these crazy Kagune, and this is what I was actually talking about before, where he was launching about like the abilities of a ghoul, and how much Kaneki, especially Kaneki, has progressed in the story, because he lost all his limbs. He hasn't eaten sufficiently in a while to be able to do this, I'm assuming. And yet he was somehow able to reconstruct his limbs and still launch these multiple giant Kagune slash Kakuja type of abilities at him. You know, like he's just going literally all out on Arima. And also Arima, who is able to hold out on him by himself and still keep on going. Like, it's crazy. Another thing I did want to talk about are these flowers. Now, remember, they're in the CC, they're in Koshla right now, so they're not outside, if I remember correctly. I think that this is all this part of this dreamlike thing, which is very similar to the end of Tokyo Ghoul and Teiku, when Kaneki was in the sewers or whatnot, and he started seeing the flowers or whatever. But these flowers, we all know when the flowers come, it signifies death. You know, somebody's gonna die or something's gonna happen. So these flowers are here, which, like, if you think about it, in every single event in Tokyo Ghoul, there any time there's flowers, somebody's dying. It happened with Hairu. It happened with Kaneki. Well, he quote unquote died in Tokyo Ghoul. It happened with Kijima. Like, almost all of them, when it's flowers, somebody's dying, which sucks. I mean, which is scary, but especially if it's a character that you like. But we see a ton of flowers here, and I mean, Arima standing, so I'm not sure where we're going with this, really, to be honest with you. If you see here, which is something that somebody pointed me out on Twitter. Shout outs to, I think it was Star Moon Eclipse. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but thank you for the observation. I didn't even notice this, but when somebody starts to go blind, the biggest cause of people going blind is cataracts. And what happens when you have cataracts is your cornea starts to become like a milky white color. So like your like over your cornea, it starts becoming like grayish white. And if you look at Arima in the panel above, right before he notices Kaneki's attack, he's got this very milky white eye. Now, you could just say that he was just observing what's going on. He can see the flowers or whatever, but I really do think that he's starting to lose his vision. And not only that, but he's getting exhausted, for sure. He's getting tired. And because this guy's a human, you know, like, even ghouls get tired, so he's definitely starting to lose all the stamina that he had, despite him still being able to hold up. But he seems to be losing his vision, and it really makes me wonder, because if you look at him, he's got this milky white, and then he immediately snaps back and realizes where he's at. So it seems like he's starting to break, but this just makes me wonder. I hope he hope he's not a ghoul, and I'm positive he's not a ghoul, or a half ghoul, to say the least. But if he's not, what is he? Like, is he just really a human that's that strong? You know, like, because those people do exist. Like, Shinohara was incredibly strong despite just being a human. Amon was very strong despite just being a human. There was a couple characters. Kuroiwa was very strong. Old man Kuroiwa, I'm talking about, and the young guy are both pretty strong, despite being human. As far as I know, they're human. But Arima, I really, if he does die here, which I don't even know, like, if he does die here, are we gonna get when are we getting the backstory? Like, because there's definitely more to Arima than meets the eye, pun intended. And so, what kind of impact and what kind of relationship does Arima have with V, with the CCG, and with Kaneki? Like, what I've always speculated since a long time ago, and I've told you guys before, is that Kaneki has known Eto for a long time, and he was just, this was all part of the plan to get Kaneki to become the One-Head King, because remember Tatara. So you see Tatara at the end of that one chapter where we had seen him recently, where it seems like he knew this was coming, and he knew this was all just part of the plan. Like, it seems like everything that has been going on has been to Eto's benefit. Like everything's just falling into place, and it doesn't seem like Arima is worried, to say the least, at all. Like it seems like he knew this was gonna come. So I feel like these two characters might have had some kind of connection, even though we've never really seen them talk to each other. As far as I can remember, we only seen them talk to each other once, which is in the end of Tokyo Ghoul. So I'm just so curious, and I want to know more about Arima, just because of the fact that he's such a vague, cold stone character who we know nothing about. And what makes him even more vague is that he had his own spin-off, and we didn't even learn nothing about him there. Just very, very little. It's just the fact that he was in the CCG since he was very young. And with him being in V, he probably was raised and born in V. So maybe he knew Rize? I don't know. Huh. Just something came into my head. Anyways, yeah, so Arima, it's, I don't know. I'm very curious to see where that ends up going, and just to see when we'll get that backstory, and will he die right now? I'm not even sure. But yeah, let's move on. So Kaneki launches these Kagune at him. He's somehow able to just fend them off and everything, and then he hears a scream. It sounds behind him. He goes for it. He goes in for the kill, but it's actually not Kaneki. It is Kaneki's Kagune, which had a mouth. Like that's like, oh, man, like wow. It looks like a snake, and he says, "I win," right when Kaneki appears in front of him and destroys his Quinke. Okay, so that's 2 Quinke down. He's probably got another Quinke or something, or maybe he can just fight with his fists. And this is where I'm so curious, because what's happening? Like, what in the world's gonna happen? You know, I can't even fathom. I have so many scenarios in my head that could go down. Kaneki kills Arima. Arima is a ghoul. Arima is a half ghoul. Arima runs away. Backup comes right on time. You see all the possibilities. Like, there's just no hints. And Ishida, which is what I love, is just that there's no hints of what can happen next. There's just so many outcomes that can happen, and that's what gets me hooked. Because well, that's what gets most of us hooked to the story, is because you can't predict what's coming next. You can think of possible outcomes, but you can't necessarily predict this is what's going to happen. You know, like some other series, you can pretty much predict, okay, this is what's happening, but you don't know, you know? With Tokyo Ghoul, I think it's done very, very well. But it seems like, and here's the thing, the crazier thing, Arima being turned around immediately reacted and was able to defend himself, because right there that would have been a vital hit, because that Kagune that Kaneki launched would have pierced his heart. Like that was aiming for his heart, you know, and he was able to defend himself, you know, despite being turned around. And his reaction time is godly fast, you know. So I think maybe right now we might have some dialogue moment with them. Like Kaneki might try to get Arima to surrender or something. I don't think so. I think Kaneki's just gonna go straight in for the kill, but I'm not sure, really. I mean, I don't know. There's just so many outcomes, like I said, and there's just so many things to speculate about. It makes my head hurt, to be honest with you. But definitely a very, very impactful chapter, a very crazy chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, and seemingly we are definitely going to be getting the One-Eyed King of Kaneki very, very soon. He's like, if one thing you can say for sure is that Kaneki is the One-Eyed King. There's no doubt about it. There's another speculation I've had that I probably mentioned before. I might have not, but basically what I speculated was that Arima was actually the One-Eyed King. Now, I still think, now with this speculation, I still thought he was human, but I do think that like maybe he pretended to be the One-Eyed King so he could protect Eto or something. I don't know. I just think that there's definitely some relationship between Arima and Eto, but it'd be interesting to find out what that is, and if we get some backstory sometime soon, that would be great. And also if Juzo doesn't die, that would be great too. But yeah, crazy chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, like every week is. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on this chapter, and what do you guys think will happen next? You know, what out of all the outcomes, what do you see more likely happening? You know, in terms of Juzo, in terms of Arima, and then there's other factors as well, like Mutsuki right now and Yuri. There's the others. There's the other squad members like Aura and Mogan. We don't really know much what they're gonna be doing. You know, there's Haizaki out there. There's Donato, which don't forget about Donato. There's Eto in the squad. There's Amon. There's just so many things going on right now, and you can just ask questions for days. You know, like what's gonna happen. You know, but it's definitely interesting. And another thing I wanted to mention before I wrap this all up is I've been wondering, now that we've been reading with this event going on, I've been really wondering whether or not there might be an actual third part to Tokyo Ghoul, because the story seems to be, it seems to have a lot left to go, because there's definitely a lot of unanswered questions, but things could be wrapped, by the way that Ishida paces things could be wrapped up pretty quickly. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if he either finishes it with Tokyo Ghoul Re, or if he wanted to, continued on with a third part. You know, like, I don't know. I was just, the question of this whole video is, I guess the main question, and you guys could, you know, talk amongst yourselves and ask me or whatnot, or tell me your thoughts, is, do you think there will be a third part to Tokyo Ghoul? Personally, I used to think not, but just reading it and everything, maybe it's a possibility. I don't know. But yeah, again, you know, let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments down below, people. Thanks for watching, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. Special things coming soon. There should be something special coming out tomorrow for sure. Hope you guys are around for that. Whoops. And I think it's my time to go, so I'll see you guys later. Peace.